folks. It's Zion Hezekiah here. We're recording on Tuesday, March 31st. This is our Vince Carter episode. That is episode number 15 of season 3. And you are tuned into Toronto Talk Sports and more. Yes. Shout out to former Toronto Raptor All-Star player, number 15, Vincent Lamar Carter. All right, I'm very happy to be joined remotely via video connection by my AP, associate producer, Miss Janelle Estaa. What's going on, Jay?
Hey, what's up, Z? What's up, TTS audience?
What up? And we are very pleased to be joined by a guest host for today's show. We have multimedia personality and journalist, motivational speaker, Miss Tracy Lynn. What's going on, T?
Hey, it's going good. Staying sane in this crazy time.
It is a crazy time, a very crazy time. And we're going to get to all that, talk about all that craziness. So this is your first time on the show. Once again, thank you so much for taking the time out for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Why don't you tell our audience a little bit about yourself before we get into things?
Well, where do I start? Well,
I know, right?
Without an E, there's no E. A multimedia personality across all platforms. You've probably seen me on TV. You've heard me on the radio, online. I cover everything from sports and home, family. It's I'm a mixed bag of everything because I also, on the flip side, do marketing and branding for people and do social media for companies and personalities. So that's pretty much it.
Keeping real busy.
I'm trying to, but I'll tell you, with this new norm that's happening right now, you go from working 20-hour days and being awake for 20 plus hours of the day to the new norm of either working from home or limited hours or not working at all. It is a hard adjustment.
Absolutely. It really is. This is something that none of us would have expected, probably just, a month or a couple months back. Let's get to a few numbers just to kind of set the stage here. So as of today, once again, Tuesday, March the 31st, there's been 260 new COVID-19 cases in the province of Ontario, bringing it to a total, I believe, of 1,966, 33 fatalities. Worldwide, as far as the worldwide numbers, 8,406 cases worldwide, including 41,000 deaths. So these are the latest numbers. What I want to ask you guys, and we'll probably kick it to you first, Tracy, what actually concerns you the most, about this virus? We've never seen anything like this before, regardless of how old we are. I'm sure we would all agree we've never seen anything remotely like this before in the world. What actually concerns you the most about everything that we see going on related to COVID-19 and this national pandemic?
What concerns me the most is, it's more of a personal thing. Am I taking this seriously enough, or am I taking this too serious? I know that the numbers come out daily, but the numbers are at least a week old. Because it takes about 5 days to 6 days to get those results back. So when we hear those numbers that you just told us, what are the actual numbers versus how many people are being tested? There was over 50,000 people that were being tested. Are we over-informed? Do we have too much going on in here? Because it's scaring us. And when I go to the store, and I'm trying to keep my essential shopping to a minimal and getting out there, when you see the way that people are dressed and they have their masks on and full gears, and it concerns me because it makes me fearful. It gives me anxiety, which I've never had this before. So how do I now deal with this?
Absolutely. Janelle, what about you? What really concerns you the most about everything we see going on?
I actually want to touch on what Tracy said about seriousness. It's okay, I'm thinking of the opposite. Are people really taking it as serious? You see in the US how they had that huge beach party during the March spring break, right? So I'm okay, are they even taking serious? But I understand Canada has limited their, they took a lot of action and moved forward with it. The US, I find they're still not getting it.
Yeah, I guess it depends where, but yeah, we see videos and reports of certain pockets of the United States. I think it might be Florida that you're referring to, in some of those beaches there, where you see large gatherings, because I don't believe they've mandated that everyone should, shut it down, which, they should. For me personally, what concerns me the most is the fact that you could actually have this virus, you could have coronavirus in your system for up to a couple of weeks and not even know it. So you could be out there, even if it's just to make a quick essential run to the grocery store, and you're breathing, particles in the air, you're touching things and whatnot. You don't have any fever, you're not coughing, you're not sneezing, but you're transmitting the virus. You look at the TTC; they're having major issues right now in Toronto here. With the TTC and the overcrowding, especially early in the morning, where a lot of essential workers are loading in, and the subway and the buses to go to work to provide their essential services. But the fear is that they're transmitting the virus. I mean, the percentages, you would imagine that at least, a couple of them have this virus without knowing it. To me, that's a real scary thing.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. A lot of people that they're carriers of it, let alone you're more contagious when you don't even have the symptoms. That is very, very scary.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
and also the thought of
go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. It's also the thought of like, how is society and the economy going to bounce back after all of this is like done? That's what kind of scares me the most too. Like, how do we bounce back from this?
That's the question.
Yeah.
A lot of marketing dollars need to be invested. That's for sure. Because even though people aren't buying as much right now, they still need to be top of mind when it comes to products and our choices when it comes to what we're buying.
Absolutely. So Tracy, you're in Hamilton. I know you obviously watch different media outlets. Tell us about Hamilton. What's it like, in your neck of the woods? Do you see it possibly any different from, let's say, a Toronto or other pockets of Ontario?
Well, I know that they just released today a statement saying that all recreational centers, all parks, everything is shut down, because look, on the weekend, we had mild temperatures and we're craving that because we're just so done with winter. A lot of people were out walking, but they weren't keeping that appropriate distance, and parents were actually bringing kids to the playground to go and play. So I would say in the last 24 hours, I've noticed a huge difference here, because I've noticed not only is it raining and it's a little bit cool and damp, but I am noticing that people in Hamilton, that's all I can speak for right now, they are taking this really serious, because when you drive down the street and you drive past a grocery store, they're empty. They're not as busy as what they were, I would say, even 4 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quiet. We're staying in. Neighbors are waving to each other, but everybody's climbing the wall. But I think that people are realizing now more so that if they stay in, this will heal, this will help the community, and we can get back to our regular, somewhat normal life faster and quicker if we just stay home.
Absolutely. Let's hashtag that, guys. Hashtag stay home.
Stay home.
I think that's what people don't understand. Like, the longer you don't follow the rules, the longer this is going to prolong.
Yeah.
And I don't think they get it. But
no. Well, maybe they will get it now that they closed the LCBO on Mondays.
That's a big thing. That is a big thing, because we like our happy juice.
I'm jealous.
As you should be. Let me throw this out, because this is actually another thing that personally, concerns me. If you go back to Hong Kong, I believe it was probably maybe about 4 weeks ago or so, just kind of learning by example how other nations have dealt with and are dealing with this, pandemic. The concern that I personally have is, once things, we do kind of, curb that cycle, and we do see that downward trend, and the government starts to, loosen up some of these restrictions. So right now in Ontario, as we know, I believe it was announced a few days ago, no more than 5 persons are to be gathered together in a public setting. So once we do start to see, once again, the numbers going down, it looks like things, the dust has settled a bit, and then we start to, loosen up these restrictions. My fear is, that second wave, because that's exactly what happened in Hong Kong, where, they thought that they had fought it. Everything was all good and dandy. And they said, I believe it was within a period of 48 hours, the numbers actually doubled. So that's a very scary thing. And especially with the warm weather coming up, everyone's going to be excited about, going outside and, kind of, catching up on all this time that we feel that maybe we've lost. That's one of the concerns that I have, is that, we could possibly let our guard down on this thing.
I would agree with you 100% on that one, because I believe I just said that too the other day, that as soon as we start getting back towards somewhat normal and they lift that 5-person, 10-person, regardless of what it is, but we start getting back out in the community and doing things in groups, and not only hanging out with family and friends, but going to the grocery store, going to the mall, going to the patio for a drink because the weather is nice, then we're going to have another wave of the virus hit. And then what happens? Then we have to start all this process again. Hours are cut. People don't have jobs. I mean, they're already predicting this to maybe go to what, June? Before things start to possibly get back together. And then we have the question of the kids. What happens when kids start going back to school if they say the possible return date is in May? What happens? I mean, kids can be carriers. So they're passing it, and then they're coming home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also read an article, one of the Army's general, he told his troops that be prepared for like the next 4 or 5 years, because it will come in waves.
Wow.
So they haven't really officially said it, but he told his troops, like, be prepared that they're going to come in waves. And for how long, who knows? Because like China knew about this like 4 months way before we knew about it, and they're just recovering now.
So is this our trial run?
Yeah, I know, right?
I know.
Oh, boy.
This is a preview.
Yeah.
I saw this funny meme. It was like, April, what do you expect? It was like Godzilla. I was like, oh, great.
Oh, boy.
Well, I hope I get it right the next time around and I prepare a little bit more.
It's not. So it's hard to, like, I feel like we're just kind of waiting around and see what happens. Hopefully there's a solution. Even if there's a solution, will it come back? And how we're going to adapt.
So obviously there's a lot of, doom and gloom out there. It certainly is not business as usual. Tracy, to someone who, you do public engagements and obviously, motivational speaker, what would be your message of hope to the masses in this particular situation, especially with all the free time that many people have on their hands, being locked, being cooped up indoors? What would be that message of hope that you'd possibly like to share with everyone?
Well, I mean, at first I was very anxious and I had my own anxiety about the change in time that we had. Because if you look a couple weeks ago, I know I said, oh my gosh, I would love to have some time. I would love to not be tired and get through a movie without falling asleep. I feel like right now, anybody can say, be positive. And it is hard to be positive at this time. So it's okay to be negative, but don't stay there. Don't swim around in those waters. You can dip in, but get back out. And it's very important to allow yourself, give yourself that permission, and don't worry about feeling guilty. You can have that nap. We're told to stay in. And find joy again. And that is something that I have actually started to feel, happiness and joy, because I am napping and not feeling guilty. I can have a glass of wine whenever I want and not feel guilty.
You go, girl.
Yeah.
Or judge.
Yeah, why not? I'm going to high five myself on that one. So my message to everybody really is enjoy this time. Find something or do something that you wanted to accomplish. May it be put the laundry away, fold this, match up the socks, and do something. And find that joy inside of you and find that happiness. And maybe this is the time where the universe or life is saying, hey, maybe this is the time to stop and take a deep breath.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Tracy, we know that you're just like us. You're a podcaster. Tell us about your podcast show. Let's switch gears and talk about something positive here as we wind down. Tell us about your podcast show and, of course, let our audience know how they can connect with you.
Yeah, well, I'm always on IGTV. So my Instagram is Tracy Lynn without an E, TracyLyn, and it's 567. And I just talk about daily topics, pop culture, what's going on, sports, everything and anything. It's just a real deal. Keeping it real, keeping it fun and light. And you know what? It's just, I'm helping you get through your day.
For sure. How much are you missing sports right now, Tracy?
Oh my God. There are no words.
I know, right?
There are no words. But I will say it's great that the athletes are entertaining us on their social media.
Oh, big time. Everyone's going IG live, right?
Exactly. Everyone's investing in home workout equipment and lighting. But hey, it's all about keep moving. And yeah, I can't wait until I will never complain about anything ever again. I don't care what sport is on. I miss that.
Absolutely. For sure. Any last words there, Janelle?
Oh, I feel like, I would tell people to just keep checking in on others.
Yes.
Like with family, with friends, keep that social aspect. Because I heard you hear all this news how people get disconnected from others, and that social aspect that they kind of go crazy or they start to think of negative thoughts. I'm like, just still stay connected, even though it's digitally, or even on your balcony, wave to the neighbor next to you. Some small stuff like that. You can even see like videos of people like entertaining with them each other with like instruments, like piano playing, singing, and it's really crazy what the world has.
Absolutely. For sure. So once again, Tracy, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Everybody stay safe. But listen, this is what we have on tap for the rest of today's show. We have an interview feature coming up with Kwan Zimmerman of the National Basketball League of Canada. You don't want to miss that. And after that, for our sports roundtable, we're very excited to be joined by the fastest man in Canada, Canadian Olympic sprinter Aaron Brown will be joining us. He's in Florida and he's taking some time out to join us, so we look forward to that feature. But before we wind down, do want to give a birthday shout out to our very own Justin Williams. JW is celebrating his birthday today, one of our TTS correspondents, and he'll be actually on the interview with Mr. Zimmerman. So happy birthday, Justin. Love you, brother. All the best. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Do stay safe. Once again, this is episode number 15 of season 3, and you're watching Toronto Talk Sports and more.
Thank you for watching. Please click the like button and leave us a comment with your feedback. And don't forget to subscribe with notifications to see more engaging and interactive content. Toronto Talk Sports and more. For the love of the six, let's connect.